Hello students, how are you all? We continue the session. Hope you all understand yesterday's session regarding operations management. What I told you, operations management is nothing but the conversion of raw material into a useful final product. Am I right? Or is direct utilization of the resources like men, material, machines. Ultimately, in operations management, you are going to use management concepts in order to control various operations of the organization as far as the production department is concerned. Okay, and also yesterday we were discussing about the basic difference between operation research and as well as operations management. All operation management tools techniques involves operation research methods. So yesterday I was explained the linkage between the car and as well as the fuel, right? Now here the car you can presume as the entire operations management and the fuel as the operations research. Both are interdependent. If car is not there, the fuel cannot be used. Same way, without fuel, car also cannot move. So like that here, both are interdependent disciplinaries. Okay. So one more way how you can distinguish OM from that of war. In OM, most of the times you are going to use management concepts, whereas in war you use all mathematical statistical concepts. Okay. Now, so what are the definitions we learned? Right, management of direct resources like man, power, machines, materials. Right, this is one of the standard definitions. And also, operations management is the management of systems or processes that create goods and provide services. So, given by Stevenson. These are all few standard definitions you have to by heart. Sometimes you may get short answer questions. Okay. Now, after understanding all these things, and now we go for understanding operations management into exact terms as per our syllabus. Okay. Let us go for the first topic of your first unit. So, what is that? So, before going to understand about the operations management, we are understanding this one by what we call knowing differences between products and services. Yesterday I was clearly explaining you all that earlier this management science, this science used to be called as production management. And because of advancements in the services sector, like IT sector is there, hospitality industry is there, okay. So because of advancement of the service industries, the production management transformed into operations management. So when you are talking about operations management means you involve production management and as well as the operations management. I mean to say here the physical products and as well as the what to call the service products. What are the best examples for physical products? Like wristwatches are there, mobile phones are there, pens are there, fan, okay. All this comes under physical products. Then what are the service products? Okay. Now if you visit any five-star hotel, a warm welcome will be there. It's a kind of service for that they charge. Same way, when you go to any hospital, a doctor is going to advise you kind of what you called medicines based upon the problem. It's nothing but service. When you visit a saloon, isn't it? So based upon the customer demand, he or she is going to have what you call the haircut. This is also comes under what you call service product. That means products are two types. One of what you call manufacturing products and one more of what you call the service products. Then majorly, how do you differentiate? How to divide which are service products and which are manufacturing products? So if you think in those lines, these are the few things, okay, you have to remember in order to distinguish, okay, between a manufacturing product or else a physical product and as well as a service product. Like the very first one is tangibility. If you take cars, if you take pen, if you take bike, we can touch that one. We can feel that their presence. In such a way, if you have that touch and what you called feeling of or the presence of that product, you call that one as a tangible in nature. All physical products are tangible in nature. Wristwatch, if you wear a wristwatch, you feel that yes, watch is what you call banded to your wrist. Computer is there. You can touch that computer. You can lift that computer. You can feel that weight. Tangibility. Same way, if you come to this side, all service products are intangible in nature. Doctor is going to give treatment that you cannot touch. What will be there? That recovery will be there in terms of what you call feeling, in terms of satisfaction. So those are all advices. Okay. Same way, when you what you called go to any wonderful place, you will going to relieve from the entire stress. Especially if you go to visit any woods, I mean to say forest. Most of the psychologists says that when you are feeling stressful, the best place is visiting woods, landscapes, greenery, watching to the greenery. So you will have a kind of refreshing situation, isn't it? A refreshing feeling. That is a intangible nature. That impression will be there in your mind. Okay. So all such kind of things are nothing but the intangibility in nature. Let us go to the next point. What is that? Store and transported. So when a physical product is produced, okay, all that produced products like what you call chocolates are there, biscuits are there, okay, edible oils are there, soaps are there, that will be stored in a particular place. You call that one as a godown. Based upon the demand, those things will be transported to those cities. I mean to say, a physical product can be stored and can be transported. Then what about the service products? Is it possible that all advisory of the doctor, okay, can put in a separate place whenever that problem arises? You can utilize that all advices. Not possible. Because health issues are what you called varies based upon the person. That's why people say that never take medicine on your own. Doctor should advise. Doctor will observe that particular patient based upon the symptoms. He prescribes that medicine, the doses, the timings. Okay. I mean to say, as far as the service products are concerned, cannot be stored and cannot be transported, isn't it? I mean to say, beforehand production of the service products is highly never possible. Strictly speaking, never possible. Then and there only, whenever problem arises, services will be provided. That's it. Okay. Now, if you come to one more point, produced in a factory environment. Factory environment means big machineries would be there. Workers will be working. Movement of the raw material would be there. Metal sheets, vertical cutting will be there. Understand, molding will be there. Welding will be taking place. Electrical items fixing will be there. And finally, you are going to have the wonderful automobile things to outside of the factory. But whereas the service products need not have that special machineries environment, isn't it? A simple room is required. A small kind of vertical methodology, or else a procedure, or else in terms of vertical technically speaking, training is required. So MBBS means that doctor trained for giving treatment to that particular kind of problem. Okay. So where you are going to have that medication in a hospital, you call that one as a special environment, market environment, where you find all the services products. Barber shop will be there, movie theaters would be there. Okay. Now come to the one more peculiar characteristic of a product. What is that? Standardized products. What means standardization? A particular measurements, length, breadth, weight, and chemical mixture will be decided before itself. Let us take what you called five-star chocolates itself. Based upon the person, based upon what you call their individual habits, for every person different five-star chocolates will not be produced. They'll fix up to A, B, C, D, like what you call variety kinds of chocolates. A typical composition would be there. That chemical composition, that flavors, that flour mixing gives a taste, isn't it? So before that, they'll go for what you called serious research. What kind of taste customers prefers. After coming to know all this information, they what you call prefixes the size, the taste, the measures of particular chocolate. What you call that one as the standardization. So all physical products are standardization products. Okay. But come to the service products. When you are delivering a service product which are purely based upon the customized. Best example is hairstylists. Understand? Let us suppose that for a person a particular hairstyle suits. The same kind of hairstyle cannot be what you called implied or cannot be suitable to a one more person. So how the hairstylists are going to be function based upon the taste of that particular customer, based upon the face features. Understand? So all these things they consider, then and there only they decide this kind of hairstyle will suit to you. Will you allow to have such a kind of hairstyle or not? What do you call that? Based upon the customer, isn't it? So what do you call this one as a customization? So always customization is very frequently changing the procedures. But standardization means every time the product will be maintaining the same kind of what you call the measurements. Unless otherwise the procedures are changed. Okay. And let us come to the last point as far as the products are concerned. What is that? The quality. Let us take ceiling fans itself. Since my childhood, in my home I am using what to call, I means my father and as well as me, we are using Crompton Greaves fans. They are known for quality. Almost 35 years, 40 years fan is there in my home. If you go to what you called uh, big mansions, bungalows, isn't it? You will be observing few fans manufactured in the era of British. Still, they will be functioning. What do you call that? Quality is inherent. Let us take mobiles. Everybody of us prefer to have Apple iPhone because of what you call the quality. So as far as products are concerned, quality will be inherent. Same may come to this side. Okay. Quality is inherent in the process. The best example, once again, let us take doctors only. You will be observing one doctor will be very busy every time, anytime. If you see in front of his office, in the clinic, so many patients would be there. But few doctors would be there, they will not be having any kind of patients. Why? Because the way they treats the patients. Okay, rather than giving the medicine what the patient likes, the patient likes what to called the way the doctor receives the patient, the kind of motivation he gives, understand, the way he speaks to the patient, all these things matters a lot. Everybody gives the medicine. Before that, what is required? Before that, making of the patient to recover from that problem, from the disease, is very important. So what to call that kind of thing? Process quality. Okay. You will be preferring to visit only few movie theaters. Why? Because there will be what you called various kinds of facilities in that multiplex complex movie theaters. Dolby sound system would be there, big screen would be there. You will be admired with the surroundings in that movie theater, isn't it? So these are all what you call attracts to the movie goers to prefer to watch a movie in that particular theater only. These are all nothing but what? Process. Okay. Such a way, if you think, okay, it is very easy to distinguish the physical products from that of the services products, isn't it? So what are the physical products nature or characteristics? Tangible in nature, can be stored and transported, produced in a factory environment. Always they have the standardized procedures, quality is inherent in the product. And the next one is, as far as characteristics of the services are concerned, they are intangible in nature, cannot be produced beforehand. This is most important. Highly variable. Okay, variable means always changes. Generally services products produced in market environment, based upon the customer, they changes in service procedure. What do you call that one? As customized kind of service. Quality is inherent in the process, understand? So these are the basic differences between a physical product or else a manufacturing product and as well as a services product. Okay, combinedly all these products, how they are going to be produced, is known as operations management. Okay, now after coming to know the basic difference between OEM and as well as the OR, and also the variety kinds of products, physical products and as well as the manufacturing, I mean to say service products. Okay, today we are going to discuss exclusively few of the basic operations which will be performed while converting raw materials into a finished product. Be careful. What is that? A raw material into a finished product. So let us suppose that I want a wooden chair. Okay. So wooden chair means what are the things required? You require wooden pieces. Before that, you will get that wood from what you called forest. Those wood you are cutting into what you called in appropriate shapes into pieces, and all those pieces you are joining so that finally it should form into a chair, wooden chair. And after that, finally, what you are going to have, you are going to give finishing. I mean to say, you are going to have the wonderful paint on that chair. Okay. So here we are exclusively understanding about the basic operations which are performed in the manufacturing of the product, physical product. Please keep in mind physical product. Okay. So what are the three basic operations you are performing here? The first one is making into what you called pieces, the raw material, measured pieces, and all those pieces you are joining, and finally you are giving the finishing touches. Basically three operations, that's all. One is cutting into appropriate sizes, joining all those what you call appropriate sizes material into a particular shape, joining operation, and the final one is nothing but what, painting operation. And you will get wonderful products, whatever may be the product you take, whether that is a manufacturing of the mobile. So what are the raw material required for manufacturing of the material? You required few chemical what you called raw material. You required plastic raw material, isn't it? And iron parts, isn't it? All of them you are joining, assembling, and finally you are going to create a shape, final touching, isn't it? Such a way, if you think, for any manufacturing of a physical product, three processes are there. One is cutting into appropriate shapes, joining, and finally giving the finishing touch. Overall way, if you take all these three operations, procedures, isn't it? You are going to use the list of the things which are there in this slide. Getting my point? What are those? The very first one is nothing but what, the casting. Some of the manufacturing operations. Casting. The second one is called the machining, welding, shearing, extrusion, heat treatment, and finally unconventional machining. Okay, these are all very very important basic manufacturing processes of a physical product. Be careful. Now let us go for first casting. What is a casting? Casting is nothing but the molten metal. Molten means solidified, which is in a liquid format. When the metal is what you call heated to high temperatures, it becomes a liquid. You know very well. That molten liquid will be poured into a special type of what you called prefixed shapes and waited for some time to have a particular shape, isn't it? And finally you are going to have that shape. So what you call that activity? That activity we are calling as casting activity. The molds will be of different types. Mold means into which actually you are going to pour that molten metal, melted metal, isn't it? Which are based upon what you called wood. Okay. So like that if you think. So what do you get here? Casting process. A mold is created, means a particular shape. I means a cavity would be there. In that you are what you call pouring all this molten material, and you'll be waiting for some time. So based upon that, what will be there? You are going to have that product. Okay. You see here all this molten, okay, metal is pouring into what you call these molds made of sand, made of wood, isn't it? Permanent molds will be there, temporary molds will be there. So when you pour and wait for some time, that solidifies and takes that particular wanted shape. But see that, can you imagine the temperature of this molten metal at high temperature? See the kind of clothes this guy wore, all protective clothes, because huge temperature, high temperatures would be there. So this process, what you are calling as the casting process, this is a very very basic operation as far as the manufacturing of physical products are concerned. Okay. Now, so what's it the casting process? So a mold is created. What is a mold? A cavity that holds a molten metal in a desired shape until it is solidified. It becomes hardened. What type of molds are there? The molds which can be used for multiple times or else for single use. That means sometimes wooden made molds will be there, and as well as with sand also some kind molds will be manufactured. Material is heated to a specified temperature. The molten material, molten means what? Solidified. The molten metal is poured into the mold cavity and waited for some time. Okay. This is called casting process. So what are the various types? I told you sand casting. Sand, very very highly resistant to the temperatures. But these are all temporary molds. So through this what you are going to have, you can manufacture engine blocks, or if you take a two-wheeler or four-wheeler, engines will be there. So outside blocks will be manufactured by this sand casting. Walls, gears, propeller hubs, these are all various kinds of parts of a machinery. The next one is one more type, die casting. These are all permanent molds. So what they are doing here, permanently molten metal is forced into metallic molds under moderate to high temperature. So with this, what you can manufacture? You can manufacture hand tools, motor components, etc. Okay. So what do you call this one as casting type? The first type of basic manufacturing operation. So this is the picture where the casting activity has been taking place. How carefully is tilting that uh, holder having that molten material, you see, carefully handling this one. Okay, very skillful work this one. See that flow of the metal, molten metal into the molds. Okay. Now, after understanding casting process, the next one is machining process. Machining process is nothing but simply removing the extra items on any surface. That's all. So here what is the moving? That controlled removal of material from a part to create a specific shape or surface. So as far as machining is concerned, various operations are there. What is that one? Turning process. So here what is happening? The big machinery will turn the metals into these variety kinds of shapes. See here. So at high what to called speed, the metal rods are going to be rotating so that it pierces into the what to call solidified metal, creates into these kinds of items. So what do you call this one as turning process? It is one of the machining processes. So what are the activities you perform under turning process, like straight, taper? See the terminology: contours, turning, facing, forming, necking, parting, boring, threading, and knurling. Isn't it? So these are all peculiar terminology. So these are all nothing but explains you various operations when you go for performing machining operation. The next one is milling process, which is also a kind of machining process only. So under milling, the operation will be on flat surfaces. So on flat surfaces, what will be there? Unwanted things will be removed. You will be observing workers carving different designs on any what to called stone, flat stones, isn't it? Same here also on the flat surface metal sheets, milling operations will be taking place. So what are the things under milling operations you get? Surfacing, shaping, forming, slotting, T-slotting. So these are all various procedures. Okay. And this is drilling. Generally you find in the lathe machinery shops. Highly rotating with high speed, a metal rod will be rotating. Okay. Even to put a nail in the wall, you will be using that drilling machines. Forcibly you put into the wall, that drills into the wall, making a hole. See that nose of the drill, okay, curly. It pierces into the wall. Same here, what is it is happening? It creates hole into that wanted kind of metal. This is also a kind of machining process. So what are the activities you perform? Drilling, counter drilling, step drilling, boring, counter boring, counter sinking, reaming, spot facing, and tapping. Okay. So till now, what we came to know? We came to know that the basic differences between a physical product and as well as the service product, and also various manufacturing operations. In that we came to know two types of operations. One is casting and one more is machining. So I stop here. and we'll continue in the next class. Thank you so much.